If you really want to know about Johnny Winters, you would do well to get this book. He's a talented painter. It's called Hang-Ups. But you look at some of these paintings, you get a pretty good insight into what goes on in that mind, and I have no idea what it is. He's a funny, funny man. Anyway, the book is out now. It's available. It's called Hang-Ups, and here is Jonathan Winters. I can't find it now. It was the first and last day of spring.
Oh, yes, that's here. Here, let me
Well,
help
where
you.
is that? I just happened to see that. Do you know where that is?
I know the book. It's right on the cover.
Look at it.
Oh, here.
First, that's
it.
The first and last day of spring.
First and last day of spring. I believe in school. I had a tough time in the regular school.
When did trouble start? How old were you when trouble started?
Oh, I would say kindergarten was a problem. Kindergarten was a problem for me. I remember trying to make a clay rabbit and had all day. You know, usually you should be able to make one before lunch. And I just like this, and Mrs. McCauley came over. How are we doing? I always bugged me. And I was a little kid then. I had no brothers or sisters. And boy, I didn't have, nearly as much weight. Problem, I was a rather attractive kid, as a matter of fact. At recess, I got lucky, but at any rate, when the teachers say, and a lot of people say, how are we doing? What does this mean? Why can't you say, how are you doing? But they say that in hospitals. How are we today? Not good. See him? He doesn't like you.
You have another thing that is one of my hang-ups is our Christmas fruitcakes.
Yeah.
I have a theory, I can't prove it, that there is only one fruitcake in the whole world, and people keep passing it along. Nobody ever eats the damn thing, then it shows up years later and somebody gives it to somebody else.
What is the, I almost said that word, but what is the stuff that they put in those things?
I'm not sure.
Little squares of jelly-like stuff that's really bad. And little green, it's not licorice and it's not gumdrop stuff, it's just little green things and red things. And then they dip that rascal in heavy rum. And of course, for the dude that can't drink anymore, it's a gas for me, Oh, how you doing? More rum gang. Even when I was drinking, though, I did not like. It's interesting. Some people say, "Does that bother you if you have just one piece of cake?" That doesn't bother me. I want the whole cake if you're going to go for it. But fruitcake I didn't like, even with the sauce. When people are standing around with eggnog. That's another drink. Popular. That's a joke too. Is eggnog? Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. People get real cute and do this
nutmeg
with a nutmeg. I don't know what that stuff is. It fell out of the tree early. It's a lot of this. You'll love this. Merry Christmas to you. Uncle Ed, good to see you. And Uncle Ed's like, how old are we now, Uncle Ed? And he's scratching himself in this area. Must have gotten high on you, Uncle Ed. At any rate.
How about pumpkin pie? Another great holiday treat?
I'm not big on pumpkin pie.
I
Not
see.
so far. I wouldn't pass on it, if it was the only thing on the table. But I tell you exactly what I like. It's kind of simple. I love mashed potatoes. You shouldn't have those, unless you've got a 12 waist. But I love mashed potatoes, a lot of gravy. Oh. I like to get right to the turkey, and if you don't, it's gone just like that. That's the thing to me. I like to eat around 1:30. And, of course, that's a joke because it's always, we'll eat just when I get ready for it. It's Mrs. Winters. I don't do her very well. Very lovely lady, and I shouldn't kid about her. She has every cent I've got. I love you, sweetheart. I never kid about you. But she always says, look, you can live off what's in front of you. So I said I could always put the pillow over you at night.
You going home for the holidays? Back to Ohio?
No. It's a little tough to go back this time of year for a lot of reasons. About everybody's gone that I grew up with. I'm sure Ohio has an ample supply of people, but a lot of my people are lying down now permanently. And, So I think that's my chief reason for not going. I got one cousin left, and he's a little tight with the turkey, and you know, you ask him for a little more, dark or white, and it's a lot of that. I'm tired of that gesture, by the way. Yeah. No. So I decided not to go back to Cincinnati, but...
what was it like when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, well, I was partially electrocuted by a Lionel train. I was at fault. I'm not blaming Lionel. I'm sure some guy from Lionel is sitting up. What did he say about our train coming? No, it was my fault. I had come in from a very snowy evening. I was petting the dog the wrong way to begin with, and so that's the only way you can get a dog's attention sometimes. Do that to his fur. Also do that, and you'll really get his attention. I love to do that on a good snowy day. You see a dog, you know, fairly stiff. But only do it to a small dog, because if it's got a good-sized head on him, boy, he'll eat you alive. But anyway, I'd come in, and I had high tops. Remember high tops?
Sure.
You remember that? If you lived in the Middle West or the East, or maybe they were sent to you in the South, you know. They were high tops. A lot of the people are laughing because they were children or weren't even born. But they were high tops and usually had a knife in your boot so you could kill a guy in the fourth grade. Or get lucky on the turnstile. But I'd come in, my shoes were just soaked.
Oh, boy.
Apparently, we're cheap high tops, and the water went through, and I was setting up the train because Dad was resting. I was told he was resting. He rested for the first 7 years of... it was like this. Hey, how you doing? You know, it's interesting to see a guy really juiced to the gills and bombed. You know, here's a little rosy-faced kid, sort of angelic. I was in those days, and I'd put on makeup. A kid down the block was a little different from me. And put on little discs, you know, and I was trying to do the Nutcracker Suite and everything. And I'm looking at my dad, this is December 24th, you know, Christmas Eve. We're going to set the train up, and he's in a seersucker suit and a swimming trunks, you know. It was just the conversation. Kids never forget. I was an only child. You never forget anything. Two people really on you. My mother saying, "Get a bed." And I said, "Well, it's only 5 o'clock. Go anyway." Back to the dog again. So my old man's like this. Don't put the try to put the train together now.
Your father was celebrating, was he?
He was celebrating something.
Yeah.
I think that his old picture of Hoover fell off the mantle, and so, at any rate, I said, "Dad," well, I asked that stupid question, you know, and having been an alcoholic, I understand it now. I said, "How are you feeling?" I never said, "How are we feeling?" How are you feeling? I'm fine. And my tongue flies out a lot, you know, and so I went over to kiss him, which, you know, even in the 30s you could do that. And it was most fathers would point, here, never here. So I get, full blast. And so it was at that time with wet shoes that I stepped on the track.
It sounds like
a lot of fun.
Sounds like a warm Christmas day.
And I asked a foolish thing. It was in the coming out of the Depression. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
About the same age. And we were not wealthy. We were wealthy, but it was taken in about an hour. And instantly went to wood toys. So things like broomsticks, you know, with carved faces on them. So stockings were filled full of just walnuts, and that's a bummer, gang, you know. A stocking full of walnuts? Oh, another one.
Surprise. Not even an orange, huh? Just another walnut.
And there's something about opening up. It was something that had been hit in the road coming Merry Christmas. And this thing's like it.
Oh, these wonderful memories of a warm family Christmas.
I'm dreaming.
We'll be right back after this. Stay where you are.
Problem, I was a rather attractive kid, as a matter of fact. At recess, I got lucky, but at any rate, when the teachers say, and a lot of people say, you know, how are we doing? What does this mean? Why can't you say, how are you doing? You know, but they say that in hospital.
I can't find it now. It was the first and last day of spring.
Oh, yes, that's here.
Huh?
Here, let me
Well,
help
where
you.
is that? I just happened to see that. Do you know where that is?
I know the book. It's right on the cover.
If you really want to know about Johnny Winters, you would do well to get this book. He's a talented painter. It's called Hang-Ups. But you look at some of these paintings, you get a pretty good insight into what goes on in that mind, and I have no idea what it is. He's a funny, funny man. Anyway, the book is out now. It's available. It's called Hang-Ups, and here is Jonathan Winters.
Make a clay rabbit and had all day. You know, usually you should be able to make one before lunch. And I just like this, and Mrs. McCauley came over. How are we doing? I always bugged me. Even if, and I was a little kid then. I had no brothers or sisters, and boy, I didn't have, you know, nearly as much weight.
Oh, look at it.
Oh, here.
First, that's
This is it.
The first and last day of spring.
First and last day of spring. Leaving school. I had a tough time in the regular school.
When did trouble start? How old were you when trouble started?
Oh, I would say kindergarten was a problem. Kindergarten was a problem for me. I remember trying to make